It looks like he. Good evening. I call to order the official City of Douglas Mayor's Youth Council meeting of September 17th, 2024. We will now have invocation by William McCulloch.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We bow our heads for a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before your throne of grace today, giving you thanks, for this is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for every soul that is in this building today, Lord. We just ask you that you will have your way, that you will share a word, inspiration. Thank you for this committee today, Lord, and make it all possible. We thank you now and forevermore. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I've been assigned to give you all a word of motivation, inspiration. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations for the seat that you all hold. That's an honor and that's a privilege. You got to think that out of all of the people in Douglas, Georgia, the high school, elementary school, you all have been chosen. That speaks volumes. You can only imagine the people that's sitting on the side wanting to be in the place that you're in. But it ain't their time. It's your time to shine. It's your time to do what you have been selected to do. And I just want to tell you that in order for you to do that, in order for you to continue to maintain the position that you now hold, you got to keep a positive mindset. You can't let the naysayers come in and cause you to begin to bicker amongst each other, be jealous amongst each other. You got to stand your ground. Keep a positive mindset. You got to watch your thoughts. The lady over there said, don't hold your phone too long. Once you send your shares out, you put your phone down. You got to watch your thoughts, just like we watch TikTok, just like we watch Facebook, just like we watch some more of those network stations. Because what happens is watching your thoughts will help you watch your words. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
If you could watch your words, and if you're not careful, your words will become your actions. And then you got to watch your actions, because if you don't watch your actions, it become your habits. And you want to continue to have good habits. Continue to watch your habits, because that will bring you to your character. That's where you're all at today. Every one of y'all has to have a great character in order to be sitting up there. Oh yeah, to be sitting behind that desk there, your character is where it needs to be at. So continue to watch your character, because your character will take you to your destiny. And whatever your destiny is, you continue to keep a positive mindset, and your destiny will sure be there waiting for you. Nothing can control your happiness but you. Thank you.
We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Zania Hunt.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will not have the approval of the order of the agenda. I make a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
I, Dominic Mbang, second that motion.
All that are for it, say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, say nay. We have no opposers. We will not have the August meeting minutes by Jada Marshall.
The August meeting was held on Monday, August 19th. This meeting was held at the City of Douglas City Hall. In absence of Junior Mayor Destiny Henderson and Junior Mayor Pro Tem Dominic Mbang, our subcommittee liaison, Junior Commissioner Zipporah Wilcox, led the meeting. This month's youth spotlight was Junior Commissioner Zania Hunt and Junior Commissioner Nevaeh Spencer. Junior Commissioner and Chairman of the Community Service Subcommittee, Emma Russ, gave an update on upcoming events. Ms. Tammy Wilkerson gave us an update on gyms and informed us of an upcoming event, which is Talk and Jump Stop. It will be held September 28th. This month's community spotlight was Mr. Greg Lott from Coffee High School. He was recognized for being an outstanding teacher as well as a community leader. Ms. Jasmine Thomas, owner of Chili's Elite, was our speaker. She gave us some knowledge on how she overcomes struggles as a small business owner and problems she faced along her journey. Ms. Danitra gave the Mayor's Youth Council a recount of Keep Douglas Beautiful activities and upcoming activities in the month. The meeting adjourned following the NYC introductions. Subcommittee Liaison Zipporah Wilcox presided.
May I make a motion of the approval of the August meeting minutes?
Azania Hunt, make an approval of the August meeting minutes.
I, Jada Marshall, second that motion.
Okay. We will now have subcommittee reports by Dominic Mbang, Emma Russ, and Nayeli Moran. All that are for it, say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, say nay. We will now have subcommittee reports by Dominic Mbang, Emma Russ, and Nayeli Moran.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing?
Great.
All right, so my name is Dominic Mbang, and I am the chair of the Social Media Committee. And the Social Media Committee has been working on a lot of social media expansion over these past few months. Recently, we had a social media meeting with Ms. Blondell Thomas, and she taught us about the basics of running the DMIC account, as well as introduce us to some of the branding, some tactics, as well as do's and don'ts with social media. And because of this meeting, we were able to successfully rebrand our Douglas Mayor's Youth Council Instagram and Facebook account, and we were able to push out new posts. And the Social Media Committee has been doing a great job of not only making posts, but taking pictures at events and engaging with the general public. And overall, I believe after looking at our Instagram analytics, we've been able to reach hundreds of accounts in these past few days. So thank you to the Social Media Committee, as well as our subcommittee liaison, Zipporah Wilcox, who has done a lot in aiding the expansion of our Social Media Committee, and as well as Ms. Blondell Thomas. So yeah, thank you.
On August 31st, Mayor's Youth Council attended the ribbon hanging for childhood cancer awareness. The council, along with many other volunteers, hung gold ribbons along downtown streets to show Douglas' support of childhood cancer. We are so excited to continue doing many different community services throughout the year. We have many wonderful and fun events coming up. On September 12th, we held a work session where we discussed a timeline for the presentation we are doing for the Youth Symposium. We decided that we will have all information put together by the 20th so we can review the information and make final touches. We look forward to seeing the final presentation done and showing it to the council.
Good evening. I'm Nayeli Moran, chairperson of the Legal and Finance Committee. As the chairperson of this committee, my job is to handle any legal documents assigned by Ms. Guanetta and working alongside of our city attorney, Mr. Jerome Adams, and as well as keeping our finances organized and bringing them to our council's attention. We all understand how high expenses can be, especially with our youth council consisting of 17 members this year. On September 4th, a Zoom meeting was held in regards to our finances, more leaning towards making a decision for the Birmingham trip. members agreed to go ahead with the Birmingham trip instead of making this an end-of-the-year trip. A follow-up meeting was held on September 9th, for the finances, as well as an in-person meeting, which was held on the 13th, with Madam City Clerk Jada Marshall, Ms. Wynetta, and I. After looking at the spreadsheet of expenses and estimated totals for our trip to Morrow, Georgia, and Birmingham, Alabama, we would like for you all to reconsider the Birmingham trip. As you can see on the papers that you have at your stations, we have a full amount of money that is given to us each year from the City of Douglas's budget. We have spent so far a total of 0.56% of our budget, not including some pending transactions for the food for the meetings. This also is not including our necessities that are yet to be ordered, such as jackets, ties, and other formal wear. We look forward to ordering to show a motivated and organized youth council through our formal wear. Moving forward, as you can see on the paper that you have before you, with the totals for our Morrow trip and Birmingham trip, as you can see, the total for both trips in total equal up to an estimated 50% of our budget. Our youth council has been the most motivated one yet, as Mayor Polk has stated. We have lots of ideas we could work on in this term that may cause for the future of our council. I'd like to move the Birmingham trip to the end of the year due to necessities and other conferences we may need to attend in the future, as well as some of our event ideas that we have. If you have any questions regarding rescheduling of the Birmingham trip or any of the finances I have presented today, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
I would like to add one thing, something to keep in mind when we're looking at this, is we do have the spring fling that we're hosting and putting on, and we do have to think about the cost of that, which is farther down the line.
We need a motion for approval of the report.
Is it possible to open up discussion about it?
Yeah. About which report?
About the Birmingham trip? Okay.
I'll vote on it now. May I make a motion of the subcommittee reports discussion?
I, Dominic McMahon, second that motion.
Okay, now discussion.
So I think that regarding the Birmingham trip, that I do believe that we should go forward with it being in October. And the reason as to why I think that is just due to the fact that if you, since it is an end of the year trip, I'm not sure when it would be scheduled for, but usually the end of the year, it's the time that we transition to a new council. And I'm not sure if if placing that in that time frame would conflict with it. And if we were to have it like earlier in the end of the year, like March, April, that's usually AP season or a time where there's a lot of exams. And October is the month where, like, yes, we're picking up into school, but we really haven't hit the bulk of things yet. So I do think that we should go forward with the trip being in October.
Okay, just to address your concern about the transition of the terms, that's not when the transition of the terms. Your last meeting will be April or May, and then the summer is usually when they transition, and then they're sworn in like you all are that following, like August.
Yes, ma'am.
So that shouldn't be a problem, but if your concern is regarding the classes and the workload, that may be a different thing that y'all want to address.
If we do go forward with this, I would like to talk with the finance committee and have a certain amount of money set aside for the community service spring fling that we're throwing, because I do know that is something that we all had a fun time doing last year with the Valentine's party. We're just moving it to spring fling. And I don't want our trip to compromise that. So if we do approve it, then I would like to have a meeting with the finance committee about that.
Okay. So do y'all agree to table it and let the finance committee
go back and pull some numbers and see how that would impact your budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President, Madam Mayor, if I may say, go ahead, I'm gonna let you all know, if you look at the bottom of your sheet where it says finance, the Youth Summit Morrow trip, this is showing you how much it's gonna cost, how much we've already spent. Finance have not yet keyed it in, so we've already spent that money that you see for Youth Morrow trip. The Birmingham trip, that's only for the fees to get in and transportation is what you're looking at for that. That's not counting food, and anything else that we will possibly need. And we're talking about leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning, so and coming back that day, so that may be 2 meals that has to be eaten, 2 to 3 meals eaten that day. You see on your agenda sheet too, where it says your beginning balance. So if you spend this much on both of these trips, you're probably only gonna have
Half.
not even half. It's gonna take over half of your money. And so you still have from now and now until, and the mayor usually wants you all to go to some other things too. So that's why, and I understand what you're saying about things at the end of the year, but I mean, we're never gonna get everybody to go somewhere at the same time. I just think that it seems like your community service committee has a lot of things they want to do within the community. And I think it's best to put the community first. And if we have something left, then we can do that. If not, then we'll prepare for it for budgeting time next year, because most of you all will be probably be in the Mayor's Youth Council next year. So that is and we can't table this because the bus, this is in a 3-week time.
Oh, okay.
You're looking at October the 14th, so we're talking about 3 to 4 weeks, and the bus has to be, and once I put money on this bus, it's locked in. So that means I put a deposit down and you all decide, oh, we done spent too much money, we can't go. Oh, y'all gonna get on that bus. So I just want y'all to be realistic. I get what y'all want to do, and I want you all to go. But I just want y'all to be realistic and then learning how to spend. This is not just your money, but this is the citizens' money as well. So I'm just going to be honest. Do you want to take a trip, which is very educational? I don't take that. That's going to be a very educational trip. But then, like, for your community service, you have a lot of things that you want to do, and it's going to cost.
Okay, after the discussion, then there's actually a vote and second. There's a motion, and second on the floor.
And actually, you need to redo that motion because it needs to say that they're making a motion to go to either you want to cancel it, someone wants to make a motion to either delay the trip or go forward with the trip. So whichever one you want to. Somebody wants to make that motion. Do you want to go forward or do you want to delay it?
So if that's yours, then you make the motion for the delay.
I, Emma Russ, make a motion to delay the trip.
I, Zara Joy, second that motion.
Motion carried.
So, all in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose,
Motion.
no opposers, motion carried.
Okay.
We will now have literacy campaign by Jada Markle. We will now have the Keep Douglas Beautiful report by Danisha Williams.
Good afternoon. Good evening. The Keep Douglas Beautiful met on the 10th of September, and we do have some events that are coming up that will need not only volunteers from the Mayor's Youth Council and Teen Court, but from other youth and organizations that are represented here today. But on the 28th of September is National State Park Day. And Keep Douglas Beautiful is partnering with them to go out to the state park and help with some cleaning, some beautification, maybe even pressure washing, maybe some of the little eating areas. So we'll need help, and we'll send out a request that our junior mayor sent out a request for the members, but the public is invited as well. A lot of people go out to our state park and enjoy the trails. They enjoy having events out there, reunions, gatherings. So we want our state park to represent our city and our county, as well as the rest of the city and county. So that is a new partnership for Keep Douglas Beautiful as well. Also on the Gopher Festival, which is the first Saturday, the 5th, although some of you will be attending the Youth Symposium in Morrow. I mixed those two words together. In Morrow, Georgia, there will be some that are unable to attend due to going to the, having to participate in football or cheering or band. You may be available to help with the Keep Douglas Beautiful. We historically have a tent and we have activities. This year we're really trying to tie in with the literacy that Ms. Juanetta will talk about, and a presentation will be made from, have been made by Jada. But we do want to support Keep Douglas Beautiful for the ones that are not going on the trip, as well as some of the other mentoring organizations, because the kids will stop by and make little artsy and crafts. So they're going to need some support and some volunteers. And that's going to be for the majority of the morning and afternoon on the 5th of October. And on October 26th, again, partnering, we're all coming together, working towards the literacy concerns that we talked about in our last meeting. On October 26th, we want to do a day in the park, a reading day in the park. And we're going to need volunteers from the Mayor's Youth Council and Teen Court for that as well. Any questions? Okay, thank you. And Ms. Bonetta, she has a couple things to add.
Very quickly, I have had a discussion, Madam Mayor, I had a discussion with some of the council, junior council, and I would like to make a recommendation. I don't know about the scheduling. I know we have it tonight at 7 o'clock, but I wanted to recommend Mondays at 5.
That doesn't sound bad, but I do have to work on Mondays, and our band practices have been pushed back to ending at 5:30.
So y'all have band practice on Mondays too?
Oh, no, sorry. Today. It got pushed back to 5:30. Okay. It originally ended at 6:30 because we had to go to the facility, and we had to compromise that with the football team.
Okay. So, no, I was just trying to figure out a earlier time and a better date that everybody, and it seemed like everybody, and I thought you all didn't have, someone told me there was no band practice on Mondays.
Oh, I was talking about today.
Huh?
Yeah, Monday sounds like a great day.
No, if you have band practice, no, I don't want to. Just think about it. You all think about it and get back with me on that, okay? And maybe come up with a time earlier than 7. I'm kind of older and I get sleepy. But on the another note, I do want you all to. This is something that I wrote down and I wanted to share with you all. On September 15th, 1963, dynamite ripped through the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, killing 4 black girls in the church basement as they prepared to attend Sunday services. They were Denise McNair, 11, and 14-year-old Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, and Addie Mae Collins. September the 4th, 2024, 14-year-old student Cole Gray killed 14-year-olds Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Agulo, and the teachers Christina Ermy, 53, and Richard Aspinwell, 39, in a mass shooting at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. For this, I would like for us to bow our heads for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Now we will have the literacy campaign led by Jetta Marshall. Motion.
Good evening. September 30th is Georgia Reads Day. Yesterday, me, Ms. Donitra, and Ms. Lunetta met with the directors of literacy concerning literacy scores and what we can do to improve scores. So I just wanted to share some of the ideas that we came up with. One being acting out the Little Red Engine over by Bobby's is Little Red Caboose. We discussed Mary Hayes tutoring, a few members doing guest reading at elementary schools September 31st from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Another thing we discussed was attending family literacy nights at elementary schools, doing a book drive. So I would like to schedule a Zoom meeting with the members to come up because I have to get back with the directors of literacy by the end of this week. So I would like to schedule a Zoom meeting to explain more in detail. So one of the days was Thursday at 7. That's the most accommodating meeting. Does that work for everyone, or I can come up with a new day?
I have to look at my work schedule. I will get back.
Okay. Does that work for everyone?
I have youth conference with my church this week, so I don't think I would be able to make it.
Alternate date was Wednesday at 7 as well, but I just need to know as soon as possible so I can email them back to let them know.
Either way works.
Okay. That's all I have.
Good.
Okay.
How many can we
Any day.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so meet Wednesday? Okay. So that meeting will be Wednesday at 7. That's all. Yes.
We will not have recognition of NYC spotlights, Deporia Wilcox and Nayeli Moran. Nayeli Moran, daughter of Colton and Karina Moran, is a high-achieving 11th grade student with a strong academic record and a passion for making a positive impact. She excels in rigorous honors, advanced placement, and dual enrollment courses at South Georgia State College, while also serving as a dedicated member of the National Honor Society and prosecuting attorney for teen court. Beyond academics, Nayeli is passionate about law and works as a legal assistant for the city's attorney, Jerome Adams, a role she thoroughly enjoys. In her free time, she enjoys shopping, bonding with friends and family, and exploring her new experiences. As a member of the Mayor's Youth Council, Nayeli is eager to contribute to meaningful initiatives and develop her leadership skills. Zipporah Wilcox is a driven junior at Coffee High School, where she excels as a member of the Health and Human Services Academy. With a passion for healthcare, she aspires to become an obstetrician gynecologist and plans to attend Howard University to study biology, followed by Mercer Medical School to earn her PhD. Zipporah is a high-achieving student enrolled in honors and AP courses, with the goal of becoming an AP scholar. Beyond academics, she is actively involved in various clubs, including Mayor's Youth Council, HOSA, FBLA, GEMS, Fly Girls, National Honor Society, and served as a Know Your Worth ambassador. Dedicated to making a positive impact, Zipporah volunteers her time to help her community and gain healthcare experience. With the support of her parents, Marie and Maurice Wilcox, she strives to inspire young people to create change in their communities, guided by her faith in God. We will now have AIM, GEMS, Fly Boys / Girls mentoring updates by Mr. Bazell, Ms. Williams, and Ms. Wilkerson.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing today?
Good.
My name is Zoya, and I'm part of the Ambitious Young Man. AYM meets first and fourth Tuesday of every month. We also invite you all to the Fall Festival. The Fall Festival on October 20th, 2024 at 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Hope you all will come. Thank you.
Good evening, Junior Mayor, Youth Council. Update, GEMS mentoring program, which is Girls Exploring Movements of Success. We will be having some of us will be traveling over to Valdosta Wild Adventures for the Teen Summit this Saturday from 10 to 2. Then on September the 28th, we'll be having our GEMS monthly meeting, which will be Talking Junk Socks Party. And it'll be at 2 o'clock, and we'll meet at 208 South Peterson Avenue, Suite 202, 2 to 4. So come out, any young ladies ages 11 to 18 is welcome to attend. And then also we will be at the Fall Festival as well at the Farmers Market on October the 20th. That's on a Sunday evening from, I believe it's from 4 to 7, or from 2 to 7. 2 to 7. So just come out and be a part. And if you know any young ladies ages 11, 18 interested in joining the GEMS mentoring program, please have them to reach out to us. And that's all I have. Thank you.
We will now have our community spotlight by Zipporah Wilcox.
Our community spotlight is Johnny Wilcox. Johnny Wilcox is a respected community leader and devoted servant of God, serving as a minister at Hightower Memorial Temple. With a heart for ministry, he dedicates his life to fulfilling God's purpose under the guidance of his bishop. Johnny is also a proud legacy carrier.
continuing the beloved tradition of crafting chocolate-covered peanuts, a sweet treat that brings joy to countless individuals in Douglas, even after the passing of his grandfather, the late Johnny Wilcox, who raised him and inspired his passion for the craft. Johnny has continued to honor his memory by persevering in the tradition. This enduring dedication has led to the candy being featured in local downtown stores, including Malcolm's Drug Store, allowing the legacy to reach new heights. Through his unwavering commitment to his faith and community, Johnny honors his grandfather's memory while forging his own path as a multifaceted leader. In addition to his candy-making endeavors, Johnny has authored a book with many more literary works in progress, further solidifying his impact on the community. Today, we recognize Johnny Wilcox as a pillar of strength, dedication, and innovation in our community.
This is my dad, by the way, if y'all didn't know. That's why
It's like Johnny. That's her dad. Scoot back a little bit. Thank you. Do you have any words to share with the group, sir?
We will now have Teen Suicide Awareness by Marnie Smith and April Thomason.
Marnie Smith has been teaching pre-K at Ambrose Elementary for 14 years. She is the proud mother of 2 children. Her son Trent graduated as an honor graduate for class of 2022. Her oldest child, who she always refers to as her sweet Caroline, passed away on February 17th in 2019 from suicide. She would have been an honor graduate from Coffee High School in May 2020. She is a very active member of the Know Your Worth Collaborative and she volunteers for Donate Life. April Thompson has been employed with the Coffee County Board of Education for 30 years. She began her employment as a parapro in the pre-K program. Today she serves as the director of the Coffee County Family Connection Collaborative and executive director for Know Your Worth Collaborative. Over the past 30 years, April has been dedicated to the area of social services. She uses her time and talents to work with community and faith-based partners to better serve the families in Coffee County.
Thank you for asking me to come share my daughter Caroline's story. On April the 13th, 2002, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named Caroline. As an infant, toddler, child, and teenager, she was always smiling her big, beautiful smile. To me, her smile could light up any room. Through the years, Caroline was so very active in dancing, gymnastics, and cheering. She was a social butterfly and loved to stay on the go. I always told her that she was my gypsy girl because she was always going. She loved spending time with her friends and family. I never thought that I would have to say goodbye to my precious Caroline at such a young age. Who would have ever thought she was hurting inside because she was always smiling that smile. She had her whole life ahead of her. She had many dreams and aspirations. When I woke up on February the 14th, 2019, I never dreamed that would be the last day I would ever hear Caroline's voice, see her smile, or just have her with me. To celebrate Valentine's Day, I had gotten Caroline and her little brother Trent a heart-shaped pizza, and that evening we sat at the bar talking, laughing, and enjoying each other. After we spent our time together, Caroline left to go meet her friends to watch the baseball game. Before she left, I got my last hug from Caroline, and she said, "I love you." Caroline left with a smile on her face and to me seemed happy. Little did I know that she was hurting so much inside. That night, when Caroline got home, that was the last "I love you" I got to hear before she and I went to bed. At 1 a.m., I was awakened by a nightmare. I looked at my phone and the message said, "Mama, check on me when you get up." Well, I jumped up and ran into Caroline's room, only to find her laying in her bed having seizures. I immediately called 911 and began doing CPR on her. I never dreamed that one day I would have to do this on anyone, especially my baby. I kept screaming to Caroline, saying, "Caroline, don't you leave me. I need you. Your brother needs you. We all need you." I was praying that her little brother Trent wouldn't wake up and come in and see his sister like this. At that moment, I never felt so helpless. I felt as I had failed Caroline as a mother because my job was to save her. By the time the EMTs arrived, Caroline was still hanging on, and as they were working so hard on her, I looked around and was numb and helpless. It was almost like I was standing in the middle of a nightmare. As I watched the EMTs work on Caroline, I noticed laying on her bed beside her was a stack of letters, and the top letter said Mama. I grabbed the letters and I sobbed. She had written letters to me, her brother, and 6 of her very best friends. I began reading my letter, looking for answers to this nightmare, and as I'm reading, the tears are falling down my face, and I read, "Mama, I wish I would have told you how I was feeling, because I know if I'd have told you that you would have gotten me help." At that moment, I did feel like a failure, because my job as a mother is to protect my kids, and I couldn't protect Caroline. If I would have known that Caroline was hurting so much inside and dealing with depression, I would have given my life just to save hers. Finally, they had gotten Caroline stable enough to load her in the ambulance and get her to the hospital. My mother and I followed behind the ambulance, and the whole ride I kept telling my mama to please wake me up from this nightmare. My mama was trying to be strong for me, but she was sobbing like me. I remember running into the hospital, and I met at the door by my sister Marlo and a nurse. They took me to a side room to talk to me before I could even see Caroline. The doctors finally let me go back and see Caroline, and I'll never forget when I rounded the corner and saw her laying there. I just lost it. The doctor said, "We're flying her out to Savannah." At that moment, I said, "This is good. That means my baby girl's going to wake up, and I'll be able to help her, and she'll be happy again." My best friend drove me to Savannah, and my sister drove my mom and them. The whole way to Savannah, the flight nurse, Michelle Reagans, was texting me, keeping me updated on Caroline. When my best friend and I arrived at the hospital in Savannah, the helicopter had just landed with Caroline. Caroline was admitted to the NICU and placed on the ventilator. It was at that moment when I walked in and saw my baby girl hooked to so many machines that I went completely numb again. I just stood at the end of her bed, and in my mind, I could see the day I found out I was pregnant with her, the day I gave birth to Caroline. Every single birthday, every holiday we shared together, every football and basketball game I watched her cheer at, every dance recital she was in, and every school year completed filled my mind, and I told God at that moment, He can't take her from me. It wasn't but just a couple hours after Caroline had arrived that the hallways and waiting rooms were overflowing with Caroline's friends, her brother Trent's friends, my friends, and family. Caroline's friends camped out in front of the NICU doors, sharing stories of all the good times they shared together. From February the 15th until February the 17th, the nurses and staff of the NICU said they had never seen so much love for someone as they did over those few days. The staff gave Caroline's friends paper and markers. They wrote letters to hang on Caroline's walls. The nurses braided her hair. We painted her toenails. She was pampered. On February the 16th, the staff said the love and prayers they saw filling those halls was nothing like they had seen before, so they allowed for everyone to come in and visit with Caroline. Her friends came in, held her hands, talked to her, and prayed for her. The love and prayer shown to us was so great. Every night, I would sit at her bedside, hold her hand, and tell her she has so many people who love her, and so many prayers were flooding the gates of heaven for her. On Sunday, February the 17th, the doctors were scheduled to complete one final test to determine what they already knew, but I think they were doing it for me because the desperation and determination I had to bring my daughter home was so great. I remember sitting still and silent as the doctor came in and performed tests to see if Caroline had any response to anything. At 11:45 a.m., the doctor finished his test and looked at me as I sobbed because I already knew what he was about to say. He said, "I'm sorry, but Caroline has passed away." And at this moment, the ventilator is the only thing keeping her alive. As you can imagine, as he's saying those words, I went blank. I couldn't hear anything past that point. He left the room, and I asked the nurse to please go get her little brother, Trent. As Trent walked in the room and having to look Caroline's little brother in the eyes and tell him his sister and his best friend was gone was heartbreaking. We sat at her bedside and held her hands and cried. Trent and I were both just numb. It wasn't long. A woman came into the room and she introduced herself. She was with LifeLink, and she was coming to talk to me about organ donation and to ask me about donating Caroline's organs. But she didn't need to ask me, because Caroline had already made the gracious decision when she got her license to give the gift of life and was an organ donor. I told the lady that was Caroline. She always wanted to help others in need no matter what. I can still remember Trent and I walking out into the waiting room where there wasn't any standing or sitting room. Every square inch was filled with friends and family. As I stood there, the room was silent, and I had to say the hardest words a mother could ever say. With tears streaming down my face, I said she didn't make it. Those were the hardest words I've ever had to say. Over the next couple of days, Caroline was still on the ventilator, and they were working around the clock finding recipients for her organs. On February the 19th at 1 a.m., the matches were complete, and they were doing Caroline's honor walk, wheeling her into the operating room. We had to say our goodbyes, which as a mother was the hardest thing to do. Thankfully, I have received a letter from Caroline's eye recipient, who is an artist, and because of Caroline can now see again and continue her love for art. I've received letters from Caroline's tissue and kidney recipients, and the greatest letter I received was from Caroline's heart recipient. The outpouring of love from family and friends in our community during this hard time was so great. When our school system started Know Your Worth shortly after Caroline passed away was the greatest gift a broken-hearted mother and community could have ever received. This February marked 5 long, hard, painful years without my sweet Caroline. In those 5 years, I didn't get to see Caroline graduate from high school, move her off to college, watch her graduate from college and begin her career, and I won't be able to see her have a beautiful family. But I believe if she were here today, she would be an advocate and a voice for Know Your Worth. Know Your Worth has brought our community closer together, and I know for a fact has also saved lives from suicide. Losing a loved one is hard, but losing a loved one to suicide is gut-wrenching. You're left with the daily questions of why, and these why questions will never get answered. Every day I'm reminded of something Coach Thomas said to my son Trent when recognizing him his senior year for baseball. He said we all have a purpose, and he knows what Trent's purpose was that drove him. The same purpose that drives Trent is the same purpose that drives me. People are always telling me they don't see how I do it, and I tell them I wasn't given the choice, but I know in my heart my purpose and what is driving me every day. This purpose gets me through the worst days, but it also sees me through the good days. Mental health has had such a stigma and affects more people than we know. It can be a family member, your best friend, your coworker, the person sitting right beside you, or a star athlete. A person suffering the most will always be the one who is smiling and happy, not the shy, withdrawn person. We never know what a person is dealing with, and just one kind word to let them know their worth can make a huge difference. Thank you.
Good evening, Council, and thank you so much for letting us come today and share the story of Know Your Worth. You heard Marnie's story. It is a gut-wrenching story. Marnie and her family lived a nightmare. We don't want any other families to go through what Marnie and her family went through. And actually, her story is where Know Your Worth story begins. As awful as her story is, we know that God can take some of the worst situations and grow something beautiful out of them. And I hope that that's what he's doing with the Know Your Worth campaign. In February, we lost our sweet Caroline, and our community was devastated. Marnie worked in the school system. Her family was well known in our community. Caroline was a student at Coffee High School, very well known among her peers. It was quite devastating. Less than 2 weeks later, we lost another student at Coffee High School to suicide, a young girl. 2 students in less than 2 weeks. We also found out during that time that our community had suffered a cluster of attempts, meaning many of our young people had attempted suicide. We were in a crisis. We didn't know what was going on. In the weeks that passed, or the days that passed, I passed the superintendent in the hallway. And he came to me and he said, "April, what can we do? What can Family Connection do?" Well, of course, I didn't know the answer to that question. But what I did know, with years of working with Family Connection and our community partners, I knew to call on those community partners and work together to find a solution. And so what we did was we planned what we called a brainstorming meeting, and we called members of our community to come together. We called youth pastors and pastors. We called public health members. We called school system representatives, 911, law enforcement, our legal system, anybody that had anything to do with families and children. I called them and asked them to come to this brainstorming meeting. And at that meeting, our superintendent stood in front of that group, and he said, "We have a crisis. Our kids need us. Our students need us. What can we do?" And in the back of the room, Pastor Bob Powell from the sanctuary raised his hand. He said, "What if we have a week-long campaign?" He said, "You know, we have campaigns for other things, but nobody is talking about suicide. It's time to talk about suicide. Let's go to the high school and let's talk to students. Let's saturate them with information and resources so they'll know where to go and who to call when they have issues. Let's do this for a week. Let's sell T-shirts." And in the front of the room, another youth pastor raised his hand and he said, "What if we do something as simple as know your worth? Students need to know that their life has value and meaning. They need to know their worth." And so we printed T-shirts that said simply, as you see on the screen, "Know your worth." We sold over 2,000 T-shirts. We sold them at cost to students because we wanted to get them in their hands and get the message out to our students. We produced videos about suicide, and many community members came together to tell their story about suicide. We had a week-long campaign, and it was successful. Students were talking, adults were talking, and at the end of that week, nobody wanted to go home. So we formed a collaborative, the Know Your Worth Collaborative, and we got to work. Next slide. I want to go over the T-shirts. That was one of our first successful events that we had. You students really like T-shirts, don't you? I mean, we sold lots and lots of T-shirts. That was the original, maroon and white for our school colors. Families bought T-shirts. This is Pastor Chris Sheffield. This is his family. He has a tribe of little girls, and they all sported their Know Your Worth T-shirts. He's also the chairman of the Know Your Worth Collaborative. We hosted Know Your Worth Day so everybody in the community could wear their Know Your Worth shirts. Banks got involved. I think this is Douglas National Bank that you see on the screen. Lots of other businesses joined in as well. This is the staff at Coffee Middle School. The T-shirt sales grew so much that we have, you can see on the screen, several different colors, several different designs. We also have a group of student ambassadors who designed some of the shirts. The Groovy font was very popular among our students. Even the little guys got involved. Okay. This is school staff. You see Miss Marnie there with some of her co-workers at Ambrose Elementary. We have a private school, Citizens Christian Academy. They too got involved. We printed blue shirts to match their school colors. And then COVID hit in 2020, so we printed masks. What we wanted to do was be around students. We wanted to have the opportunity to talk to students and let them know what their worth, let them know their worth. So we hosted events, and the first one we hosted was at the Fun Place. It was just a place to come and hang out. Students in grades 6 through 12 could come and hang out and skate and go-karts and putt-putt and do all the fun stuff. When we hosted these events, we made sure that we had qualified individuals, school counselors, social workers, therapists on hand. If students needed to talk to someone, they would have someone to talk to. And this is just some more of the shirts. You can keep scrolling. So we were reaching the students, but we wanted to reach the community as well. And where do you go in South Georgia if you want to reach a lot of people? You go to the Friday Night Lights. So we went to the football game. Our cheerleaders wore the Know Your Worth shirts. Go ahead. They made the sign for our team to run out through. We had photo opportunities so families and children could come and take pictures with the Know Your Worth message. We set up a table and did some shirts. Our junior varsity cheerleaders, they painted faces. And then we went to a basketball game. Of course, the players couldn't wear them during the games, but they did wear the shirts during warm-up. And we had a devotional during the break in the two girls, the boys and the girls game. We had a devotional and a Know Your Worth message there. We also went to the private school. They requested Know Your Worth there as well. We went to their basketball game, and their cheerleaders did the same thing. Then we started hosting youth rallies. We brought in speakers and invited all students, grades 6 through 12, to come and hear the speaker. And there's just a couple of pictures from the youth rally we held downtown. We had pizza and burritos, and boy, you guys really like pizza too, don't you? The power of the pizza, right? We also had on hand mental health providers that had information and resources. There you'll see some more providers that we had there. And then Reggie Dabbs. I don't know if any of you have heard of Reggie Dabbs, but he's a student favorite. He comes and talks about knowing your worth, and he plays the saxophone and addresses students. Trey Battle, he's another student favorite. Have any of you heard Trey Battle? He's been here in the last couple of years. He has a very interesting story. He played at the University of Georgia, went on to play professional on several teams. When he retired and came back to Georgia, he went to what he calls the dark place. I remember him saying in one of the meetings, one of the scariest places that you can go is inside your own mind. And that's so true. He went to a bridge, he had a plan, he was about to jump, and he called his coach he had not seen in about 8 years, Mr. Mark Rick. He said, "Coach, I'm scared." He said, "Get to my house as soon as possible." And he attributes Mark Rick with saving his life and paying for his therapy. And he is so much better today, and he travels around and speaks to students. He's going to be in Ware County this Saturday if anybody wants to go see him there. But he was another favorite of our students. This is him at the freshman campus, at the private school. We were speakers at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. This is our first group of student ambassadors. Do y'all see anybody in there y'all recognize? This was probably in 2019, so you may not have gone to school with these guys, but we thought, if we're going to do all these events for students, if Know Your Worth is for the students, it should be by the students. So we wanted to get with the students and ask them what kind of events and activities did they want to have. So we started the Student Ambassador Group at Coffee High. Then we started another Student Ambassador Group at the private school at Citizens Christian Academy. And I'm proud to say we also have one. As of last year, we do have student ambassadors at Coffee Middle as well. And these students kind of drive the Know Your Worth message. They start off with a leadership retreat where they talk about Know Your Worth, what it means to know your worth, and how they can reach their peers at their school. Just some more activities from the leadership campaign. Another thing that we offer through Know Your Worth is service. It's not always about us. We have to serve others. And one of our Know Your Worth members came up with Love Coffee Day. And Love Coffee Day is just community service. There are several agencies and businesses that host different projects. And you can see some of our students went to the food bank, the state park. These are some of the bulletin boards that the students hosted around the school. One of our businesses called and said, hey, can we pay for a billboard? And we said, yes, thank you very much, you certainly can. So when you're leaving Coffee High School and you're leaving Coffee Middle School and you're coming into Douglas on the right, you can't miss it. How many of you have seen it? There's a billboard there reminding you to know your worth. So what can we learn from this is that, you can keep going. I'll get to that one in a minute. So what you can learn from this is mental health is bigger now than it's ever been. Our suicide numbers are up higher or as high as they were in the 1940s. And in the 1940s, we had a major world war going on. Our students need us. But suicide is not just about our young people. It affects our older folks too. So I encourage you as young people to be kind. I'm sure you're kind people, but I'm going to encourage you to be kinder. Your words are so important. I can piggyback on what the pastor said. He said your thoughts become your words become your actions. Your choices choose your destiny. So be kind. Be kind to those students. Be kind to your teachers. Be as kind as you can be because your words really make a difference in someone's life. We were all created with a purpose and a plan. We're here for a reason. And we just need to love each other and always know your worth. Thank you.
We will now have our Black History Month Expo proposal by Dominic Membang. We will now have the Weight We Carry exercise.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zipporah Wilcox. I am the junior commissioner for the Mary's Youth Council, and we have an exercise that we would like to do with all of our youth. As you have heard today, the main topic for this meeting was teen suicide and teen suicide awareness. So we want to do an exercise to illustrate emotional weight, and this exercise is called The Weight That We Carry. Nayeli will be passing out note cards, and on this exercise, everybody's task is to write down something that is a weight that you may carry in your life, whether that be school or family or anything that you may do that's a weight to you, and you write it down on these note cards. The objective of this exercise is that you all can see that everybody carries weight. Everybody goes through things in life, and the people around you, the people that you sit next to, the students, your peers, everybody has weight. So as I do pass you out, the objective when she gets done passing out and you write it down, I will collect it and then I'll give you guys time to write down what you write down as well. But just write down something that is a weight, that serves as a weight in your life, whether it be school, friendships, peers, relationships, family, whatever it may be, and you don't have to write your name on it. And at the end, hopefully we can share. I'll be willing to share it. If you're willing to share whatever you wrote down, if you're comfortable with it, I'll be able to share it. But,
While they're passing that out, Dominic is going to come forward and give a brief briefing of his Black Expo presentation.
Can't wait with this.
Start.
Hello, everyone. Due to the time limit of this meeting, I'll make sure to keep this short. So, one of the initiatives that I wanted to present to the Mayor's Youth Council to possibly do for this year is the Black History Month Black-Owned Businesses Expo. It was something that was done at the freshman campus during the freshman year of the class of 2026, and it really inspired students to learn more about the world of business and learn about the plight of Black-owned businesses, especially during the month of February. And it is something that I wanted to incorporate within the Douglas Mayor's Youth Council. just so we're able to have a community event that branches out not only to the youth, but to our broader community. I will, hopefully I'll be able to get more into it in our next meeting, but yes, well, I wanted to just give a short little briefing about the Black History Month Expo, and yes, we'll have a more lengthy discussion our next Douglas Mayor's Youth Council meeting. Thank you.
Okay, has everybody written down something? So, if anybody is willing to share, I'll go first. The weight that I wrote down that is something that I carry is AP classes. As a AP student and dual enrollment student, and I'm doing a lot of extracurriculars, and I'm, it's hard. It sometimes gets a little bit hard to manage, and it sometimes can become a weight, and it can sometimes become hard to multitask with everything. But as I talk to my friends and my peers who are also in AP classes, it helps me realize that I'm not the only one who struggles with this. As a student who's trying to succeed in life, and trying to go far in life. So that's a way that I can alleviate that weight, by talking with my peers and by, just talking with the people around me who go through the same things and have AP classes as well. So by surrounding myself with the same people like myself who may go through the same things. So if anyone else is willing to share, you can.
So I can go next. One of the way that I decided to write down is just the way of self-confidence, especially in today's age. Often, I'm somebody who's really sensitive. Whenever I hear people say something about me, even if it isn't intended to be initially like offensive, or if it's just like a little snide comment, I often take it to heart. And if it is something that is intended to be offensive, I really do take it to heart. And it often makes me question my confidence within any social circle that I go in. It makes me think, am I doing too much in this? Am I acting this certain way? And oftentimes it leads me to also become super, super nervous in different social settings. But what I've learned is, over the years, to overcome this, is the only person that can define you and who you are is yourself. And that is something that a lot of youth need to know, especially in the age of social media, when you constantly think that you have to live up to this image of pretending to be somebody that you're not, when really, once again, the only person that can define you is yourself.
Would anybody else like to share?
Something that I struggle with a lot, and I'm sure many people do, is I have very high anxiety. So pretty much about anything and everything. My future is something I worry about a lot. School, friends, family. I just worry pretty much about everything, and I know that's something that a lot of us do. But what I've learned throughout the years, dealing with my anxiety and everything, is that sometimes you just have to take a moment and breathe and realize it's okay. Everything's not going to happen right then and there, and everything might not go your way, but it will happen, and it's God's plan. And I've just learned that some things are out of your control. You can work and work as hard as you can, but sometimes everything isn't going to go as planned. And that's really helped me throughout the years. And talking is another big thing, even if it's not, with a counselor or a family or anything like that, just talking to someone, talking to your dog. I know there's people that do talk, or writing, journaling. Anything helps if you just put it on pen and paper or say it out loud. And if you just take a step back and just kind of think of it logically. And I know that's hard, it's hard for me, but if you take a step back and think of it logically, I know many of y'all know Coach Brock. He really helped talk about that. You have to look at things in a logical perspective and not through your heart always, and that definitely is very true with anxiety.
Is there anybody else who'd like to share?
Anyone from the audience?
Well, the main objective is, as you look around this room, know that each person has shouldered a burden. Let's use this awareness to foster compassion, encourage open conversations, and build a supportive community. You are stronger than you think, and your struggles do not define you. Remember, every weight can be shared, and every burden can be lightened. Let's carry each other's weights, not alone, but together. You are not alone, and your strength lies not in carrying the weight, but in sharing it. Today, we create a safe space for vulnerability, empathy, and growth.
We will now have our Mayor's Youth Council comments. I'd like to start off. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thank you for everyone who participated with the items on the agenda. And thank you, Ms. Marnie Smith and Ms. April Thompson, for the story and the heartfelt and challenging, because I know that was really challenging to come out and tell a story like that. I almost cried. It was very emotional. And I feel for you. And I really appreciate the Know Your Worth campaign. I didn't know all that came with it. And it was very heartfelt, very touching. And thank you, everyone, once again, for coming out. Okay. May I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I, Zipporah Wilcox, second that motion.
Okay. All that are for it, say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, say nay. There are no opposers. The meeting is adjourned.